This is the second story from the London Plus book called Camra. The campaign for real ale, Camra, was founded in 71, but it took some time before it was reflected in changes in the bars and pubs. Most pubs were owned by breweries serving only their brewers' products, and so they were slow to change for the better or worse. Bars in hotels were usually free to sell whatever beers they liked. There was one of these hotel bars close to my workplace serving real ale. Now one lunchtime, I don't remember for what reason, if any, a large group of my colleagues didn't go to the bar for one drink, but several. This real ale was stronger than the usual keg beer, and not all of us were used to drinking it. So one way or another, almost all of us were the worse for the wear when we returned to work at British Airways. On the way back to the office, Joe found an abandoned pram and brought it back to his office, which was a fairly large open plan. And that afternoon, every now and then, he paraded up and down, complete with pram. Meanwhile, another colleague was in the gents' toilet, hanging on to the taps of one of the sinks, very unwilling to let them go. British Airways had recently been formed of British European Airways, BEA, and my employer, and British Overseas Airways Corporation. I worked in the reservation software development department in BEA. It had been decided this department would come under the management of BOAC, and our computer system would be replaced by BOAC's. Strangely enough, it was that afternoon, with half the employees drunk, that the BOAC management decided to visit the software development officers. I don't know what they thought or how our management presented their staff. I joined my colleague in the gents. He usually drove into work, but this was not a possibility for going home. It took quite a time and some persuasion before he would let go of the taps. He was sober enough to tell me his home address, so I led him off to a taxi and accompanied him to his home. As we were going home, he told me where I could get a tube to my home. I'm not sure what time this was or whether I was away without leave from work, but I didn't consider returning. I imagine our management were not worried about one absentee. I cannot remember our management condemning or punishing our behaviour on that drunken day. Now I wonder, was it all a coincidence after all?